Webb.
Thank you. Talk.
So, to kick it off, we're going to kind of do a setup to give you a feeling. This is how Marc and I got together. Since he deals with reality TV shows, we're doing a kind of our own little live reality TV show here at Ivaerk or Vækst. And that is behind the scenes with entrepreneurial profiles starring Marcuse. And so you'll get a feeling of what I did with interviewing the 100 people that are in the book up to this point, or the 100 people in the project up to this point. And this is just the setup. The first half of the interview is about the entrepreneur's business and what they did themselves. And the second half is about entrepreneurship in general. So it will hopefully give you some great insight into Marc, and it'll give you some good insight into entrepreneurship. And in the book, then, of course, I compare all those entrepreneurs and you get another perspective. But as we're here to also talk about how to work with celebrities for marketing and internal events, and I know that somebody came up to me and said that they brought their paper, so we got to make sure we deliver, Marc.
I know. I came
So-
a long way to deliver. So.
Yes, so we will be getting to the delivering. So that will also be a part of it. So if you're sitting there thinking, well, where's the internal events? We will get to it. So the time is clicking, Marc.
Let's talk.
Yes, so Marc, what is it that you do?
Not much. Thank you. No, I'm just kidding. Let me give you a background on where I come from and why I'm an
Country you're
entrepreneur. That's a good start. I'm from the U.S. I live in Los Angeles, in Hollywood, actually. It's a little town. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. I started in large corporate entities. I used to work for Microsoft. I worked for Disney. I worked for Honda, Sony, all companies that are very large in Denmark. And during that time, I was always wondering if I could leave, if I could find the right idea to start up my own business. In 2003, I was cast on a reality television show. It was called Average Joe. I hope you didn't see it. I think it aired in Denmark. To give you an idea about what the show was, in France, the name was Love Loser. Awesome. So, they didn't tell us that when they cast us, but that's a whole nother story. So for a while I was actually famous. I would go places and people would recognize me, and I would sign autographs and take pictures, and usually drunk people, but again, another story. I was even in Iceland, actually, and somebody from, I think it was from Denmark, came up to me in a drunken stupor at 4 a.m, asking me for my autograph, and I didn't understand a word he said until my friends realized that they had recognized me. So that gives you an idea for the power of celebrity. It's worldwide, and people recognize you wherever you go. During that time, we would do personal appearances, we would do a lot of charity events, and I wound up meeting people from every show. We used to hang out together, so I would meet people from shows. And by the way, if I mention shows that aren't aired in Denmark, if you need an explanation, please let me know, because I don't know which shows are big here or
Most
not.
of them are on Channel 3. Isn't that the big TV? Who watches reality TV shows? Come on, people, you know you do it.
Yeah, I know, they don't want to admit to
Big
it.
Brother.
Big Brother, right, of course.
Survivor. I know that it's you.
American Idol.
Yeah, American Idol.
So we would all meet each other, and we would get together and do these events. And what we found was there was nobody who was really taking those people and utilizing them effectively. They were very famous, but nobody was doing anything with them. In fact, there were a lot of shady people out there. So I decided to start the agency to help myself and my friends out. So I left the .com industry and started Real Management in 2004.
How do you spell real management?
It's REEL.
And why?
Management. It's a play on words. There's two reasons, and actually this is a good advice for the people here thinking of starting a business. Although I started in reality TV, I didn't want to have to change the name of the business if I were expanding beyond just reality celebrities. So I chose a name that would be applicable for reality and be a play on words. But then if I chose to start representing Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, although they wouldn't have me, but that's another story. But if I tried to represent Angelina Jolie or what have you, I could still use the same name and it would expand beyond that. So when you're picking the name for your company, you might want to think, do I ever want to expand beyond this name? And if so, pick a name that's general enough that still describes what you do. So in any event, I started with about 30 friends of mine who were on other shows in 2004. I currently now represent over 400 celebrities from every single reality show that's on television. A lot of them are huge in the States, a lot of them are huge out here. Again, American Idol, Project Runway, America's Next Top Model, Real World. These are shows that I'd imagine.
Yeah, like so let's get a more of a feel of this. So when you represent these people, like who are you representing? I mean, are you representing winners? Are you representing people that people are going to recognize, or
both?
Okay.
And this is something that, again, interests you as a metaphor, because there's two different ways of looking at it. I can be very selective and only pick the cream of the crop, the winners from the show or the bigger names. I chose to take a different tactic. Anyone who's been on a reality show, I'll bring into my business. The reason is it's a marketing ploy. Because if somebody comes to my website, sees that I have 400 people from every show, even if there's somebody that they're interested in, but they don't specifically see there, they'll think to themselves, this guy knows what he's doing, this guy knows everybody. So they'll still write me and say, can you get so-and-so from a certain show, which I usually can. So that's why I'm not as selective. A lot of the people I sign up, I know I'm never going to get work for, and I tell them that. But it gives an overall picture. It's like a marketing to say, this guy is the authority. He has over 400 people. He'll definitely have what I need as well. So
that brings me to a point, Marc. Now, I've never heard of this, a reality TV show agency. I mean, how many of them are there in the world?
There's one, and if a blimp crashes into this building, there'll be zero. Okay. So I'm the only person on earth who does what I do. I found a niche, and that's I'm really proud of that, actually, frankly, because a lot of people didn't think it would work. My parents thought I was completely crazy, which is nothing new, it's my parents. My friends were like, how are you going to turn this into a business? And it was very difficult for a while to overcome that stigma. But after, I was very lucky. I turned a profit. I started turning a profit after about the first year and a half.
Well, actually, that also was reminding me, like you were saying, it was difficult to start the business. So how did you go about going to people and saying, hey, I'm going to start a business representing reality TV people? How much money did it cost you?
It cost me very little.
Not cash. You don't have to.
No. I understand. It cost me very little. I'm lucky because having worked for the .com industry, I have talents with computers, and so I didn't need to invest in infrastructure. I didn't need to invest in marketing. I knew how to utilize the internet and computer to begin with to do all of this, so I did it all myself. It makes me crazy because I work for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which I still do. But by the same token, I saved a lot of money by doing it myself. I designed my own business cards. I designed my own website. I used a voice over IP like Skype for my phone calls, so I didn't have to invest in an expensive phone system. I use my cell phone. I have a plan with unlimited minutes, so that's my business phone. It cost me $60 a month for my entire phone system. So I was able to set all that up because of my computer knowledge. Now, a lot of entrepreneurs don't have that, obviously, but I'm lucky to have had that knowledge in advance. And made it
I'm thinking also in terms of we talk how to work with celebrities for marketing and internet events. I mean, in your own business, since your business is basically celebrities, don't you think that it makes, like, as opposed to maybe some of us, if you have that clout already built in because you're representing, you've made your own celebrities because A, you're the only one who does what you do, so that's a celebrity positioning. And then you work with celebrities, people that will recognize, well, you have your own celebrity.
It did. That's a really good point. I never thought about it that way. But when you work with celebrities, people instantly assume you know what you're doing, because why would a celebrity work with you if you don't know what you're doing? I didn't know what I was doing for the first year or two. I think all entrepreneurs, look back at their first couple of years in business, go, oh my goodness, I really just do that? How did I become a success? But you're absolutely right. I think also having that stable of celebrity people allowed me to do my own PR. So I was able to just contact magazines, websites, news organizations, and they would interview me because it was a kind of interesting story to begin with. I mean, I think that's what they tell me. I'm not trying to be arrogant, but it was kind of a unique scenario. So people did come to me and want to interview me a lot. I've been on CNN, I've been on CBS, which is a major network in the U.S. So I've been on a lot of major outlets to help promote the business, just because people think it's interesting that I work with celebrities, and they don't entirely see the big picture, which is the entrepreneur's, dilemma, which is I'm one guy with a home office, feeding my dogs and taking calls at the same time, but I have to show to the world that I'm a professional and I can deal with big business and I know how to deal with Fortune 100 companies. So there's that interesting dichotomy between working in your pajamas all day, but still being a professional that you can talk with large organizations and appear professional.
Okay, so with your agency, who's your typical client?
It's interesting. We have a bunch of different areas that we tend to cater to. We do a lot of college lectures at university. When somebody's been on a reality show, they're usually cast because they have something in their past that makes them interesting, right? You don't want to see boring people on TV. So as a result, we'll have a lot of people who've been on shows who've had issues with alcohol, who've been sexually molested. We have people who are gay, and so they tend to speak for a small population that doesn't have a voice. So we give them a voice. We send them to universities to discuss with students and educate them about alcohol abuse, about lesbian and gay issues, things of that nature. Those are all very hot topics in the United States right now. So we do a lot of colleges and universities. We do bars and clubs, which is more for the crazy shows. The reality shows like Big Brother, for example, where people are just crazy all the time. People want to go to a bar or club and drink with them and pat them on the back and take a photo and put it on Facebook. So we give them the opportunity to do that. The more serious, that's just for promotion for the bar or club usually. For corporations, we do a lot of things. We do internal events where we'll do corporate speaking. So somebody from Survivor, for example, could come and discuss team building. Or Amazing Race. I don't know if you get Amazing Race here. We do a lot of Amazing Race events where the winner of Amazing Race discusses teamwork because you have to be a team to win the show, and we impart that knowledge to the corporate environment. The other thing that we'll do too is, and this is a lot of fun, we'll take a celebrity and we'll do an event with them that's geared towards the public for promotion or PR. So we'll take the winner of Project Runway and do something in Times Square where they unveil a new dress that's designed to be inspired by a product that we're hired to design the dress for. So, for example, we had, again, I don't know what season you've seen or whatever, but we had somebody from Project Runway, her name was Kato, and she did an event for Johnson & Johnson. She was able to, she designed a dress, or 3 dresses rather, based upon the design of their new deodorant. And we had the press there. They could make their own version of the same dress, and then the press went home and wrote about the deodorant and wrote about the celebrity, and so it provided them with a distinct return on investment. So there's a lot of different ways. And the last thing I want to say is we're really creative. We're open to ideas all the time. We'll have people call us up and say, can you do this? Can we do something like this with somebody from Top Chef? Or can you do something with Project Runway? And as long as we're not dumping them in a vat of Jell-O singing the Star Spangled Banner or something, we're pretty open to neat ideas. So we'll do just about anything.
I'm thinking, now, as your average entrepreneur who isn't...
Average Joe entrepreneur.
As an average Joe, I didn't want to...
Wah, wah.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, as your average entrepreneur, and especially being based in Denmark, which isn't really Hollywood, how can you use the celebrity? I mean, what is celebrity?
I think it's interesting. I think there's 2 different ways of looking at celebrity. There are people who've been on TV. There's people who everybody recognizes, Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, etc. And those are obvious celebrities. I think in this day and age, though, it's important to look at your business and how you can make yourself a celebrity through both promotion, through blogging, through YouTube videos, through viral video. Those are all ways that you can make yourself something of a celebrity and be recognizable. My brother has a business in Las Vegas, another city you probably have never heard of. And he fixes people's computers for a living. He has a business that he runs doing that. So he's created a series of viral videos that are really funny that he sends out to his clients, and they get sent out to other clients. So he's become something of a little celebrity in Las Vegas because of that. So I think you can look at yourself as something of a celebrity if you handle it right. Being the head of a business, all eyes are on you, so you have to determine how you're going to utilize that best.
Okay, and so in the first part we talked about your business, and let's talk about a little bit. So when do you think you came to the realization that you were an entrepreneur? You worked in corporate world. When did you decide, now it's time for me to break free?
I've always been an entrepreneur. I always wanted to break free, always. And when I was working for the man since day one, it's really interesting because I've always had this almost anarchic personality where I can't stand big business in a lot of ways, or at least some of the ways that they do things. Yet, I've worked for the largest companies on earth, Disney, Microsoft, Sony. It's like, good thinking. So while I was there, I always was sort of looking for the idea that would allow me to break free. When am I going to wake up? Or, you hear these stories all the time. I was in the shower and the soap dropped, and so I decided, a light bulb went off over my head, and I'll create this soap elastic thing that I can pick up the soap with or something. That's a dumb idea. Please don't do that. But you hear these stories all the time, and you sort of, as a wannabe entrepreneur, you're always kind of sitting around waiting for that aha moment, right? And so I guess it doesn't really happen that you bump your head and come up with a flux capacitor. I think it takes a little more time than that. I think you have to be ready for it. I think you have to see that that's what your personality is, which is a good next question, by the way. But what your personality is, and see if you're ready to take that step. Then when the idea comes, you can just slot it into your plan and keep working for the guy who's paying your bills while you start the other thing up. That lends you a degree of safety.
Okay, so next question.
Personality for an entrepreneur. First of all, you have to be ready for risk. That's obvious. But the degree of risk didn't really hit me until I had the sharks coming after me. When you work for somebody else, you have a positive, and that's safety. To a degree, not in this economy, but you have more safety. Even if you go to work drunk and nobody notices, I didn't do anything good at work, and again, I don't advise you do that, but you know you're getting your paycheck on Friday. You always know that you will be safe. When you're an entrepreneur, if you're sick, if you have pneumonia, if your kid is in the hospital, if you're just waking up late, if you're hungover, whatever the reason is, you're not making money. So you have to think you don't have that safety net that you usually have. But then the joy that when the check does come in, that you created that, and that check wouldn't be there if it wasn't yours, is extraordinarily satisfying because that's 100% going into your pocket, except the part that the government takes. So, and in Denmark, that's a lot, right? But that being said, it gives you that real satisfaction that you created something. It's very creative. It's similar to making, painting a picture or building a sculpture. It's a creative business that when you've done it and you get rewarded for it, it has enormous self-satisfaction. You have to be ready to work your butt off. And everybody said that to me before I started my business, and I always said, you just are a workaholic, you don't get it, or you're just bad at time management. And so I just assumed that's what they were complaining about. They're not. If you run a business, there's always something else to do. There just has to be a time in which you arbitrarily decide to stop. It's all about accepting the losses. So you have to make those decisions effectively and balance. At what point do you put the BlackBerry down so that you can spend time with your family? Is the call that's coming in really an emergency, or is it seem like an emergency, but over the course of your business, does it really not matter that much? And it takes time to get there. The first 2-3 years, I'd be in the restroom and I'd pick up the phone. Like, if I heard the phone ring, I would just run for it because that's your lifeline, that's your money. And so it's really scary for a little while. After a while, you start to calm down and you go, I'll be in business next year if I don't pick up the phone right now. I'm reliable and I'm easy to get a hold of, but if I'm in the middle of washing my hands or something, I'll call them back in 5 minutes. It's okay. So you have to get to that point. It does take time.
Yeah. So now, if we go to, we want to talk more about people who are here. I want to see some notes.
They're not interested. They just crazy glued them to the seats.
Yeah. That we want to make sure that we can use how is this celebrity phenomenon, I would say, taking off. I mean, even in Denmark, there's the celebrity TV thing has also taken off, and there's a lot of crazy people who are being followed, and I won't name any names, and of course I don't watch any of these shows.
Of course not.
Because I'm busy
of course
working.
Not.
But,
it's guilty pleasure.
Yeah, I do think it's fun. So I think that, again, this whole idea of celebrity and how you can use it, if people are out here and they're wondering, I mean, there are people here who apparently came because they read the title. So What are your questions? What is it that you want to know about how to work with celebrities? Does anyone have questions? Yes, Lena has a question. Lena has lots of questions. And she has a microphone.
Yeah.
Well, no, I do have a microphone. No, I was wondering, I mean, when you talk about reality TV stars and you see how they're described in the media and stuff, sometimes you think, all right, we're not talking about people with the highest IQ.
Absolutely.
I know I'm being rude saying that.
No, I get the joke.
If you want to make a business, if you want to go out and sell these people and have them appear in colleges and have them appear in corporate relations, how do you make sure that they deliver and that the product they deliver is okay?
It's a great question. And I think it's about knowing your market. There are different types of people and different types of shows. A show like Project Runway or American Idol, they're genuinely talented and people respect them. So when they bring them, there isn't any of that, look, the guy from American Idol is here. They're like, oh my God, it's the guy from American Idol. So they're impressed because these are people with genuine talent. And those are people that I don't book for crazy events at bars and clubs. Those are people that I book that we can utilize their talents effectively. But then there's shows where the whole show is getting drunk and hooking up and all of that. Those are people you book at a bar or club. You don't book them at a college to do a lecture. It's inappropriate. And then there's some shows like The Real World, which is an MTV show. I think you guys get The Real World here, right?
Real World, Paradise Island.
Oh gosh.
All those kind of things.
A lot of stories about Tony. That's another story. Say that. So right, I know. Yeah. Well, it's okay. It's not going out on TV. I haven't talked about years. But in any event, I think when you're dealing with those sort of shows where it's like The Real World, a lot of those people come across a little crazy sometimes, but deep down they were cast for a smarter reason. Like I said, it may be somebody who's struggling with alcohol abuse. So on the show, they're going out drinking a lot, maybe even getting taken to the hospital because they have alcohol poisoning. But that's exactly the sort of person that you want to book at the university that can say, look, you've seen me on TV abuse alcohol, and I'm better now, and I went through rehabilitation. Here's my story, so you hear the backstory of what you saw on television and how I got better. It turns it into something educational. So I think it's about knowing the market for your product.
But actually, it's you as the consultant who advise them what to speak about and what their subject should be.
Not everybody is entitled. You know, on a typical season of The Real World, there's 7 people, 7 or 8, and I usually only seriously book about 1 or 2 of those 7 at a college because each season there's going to be the really crazy person who you just can't even deal with. Then there's going to be the person who is really smart, sitting in the corner looking like a grandma the whole time, going like, you guys are crazy, I'm smart. That's the person that I book for colleges and universities. I'll also explain to them how to structure their lecture. And again, we're just talking about one aspect of the business, but I'll work with them to get it to a point where they can do it well. And then you take the training wheels off and send them on their way, and you solicit feedback from the school after their first couple of events. The people who do well, I continue to push them in that market. And we have, I have videos on my Facebook webpage so that schools can go to the site and they can see the videos to exactly dispel the skepticism, like what you're talking about. So one of my best lecturers actually is Ruthie from The Real World, if you know who she is. She got very drunk on the show, was taken to the hospital, and in the U.S. caused a huge media sensation. So it was the first time anybody had seen somebody get that drunk on television. It was a major thing. And it's been 10 years. She's been lecturing on alcohol abuse for 10 years now. She's still one of my most popular lecturers, and she's incredible. So if somebody calls me and they say, who would be good for an alcohol lecture? And I say Ruthie, and they say, the drunk girl? I say, go look at our website. We have a 5-minute clip. They'll go there, and they book her every time once they've seen the video. So that is one of the hurdles in my business. But then if I've got a bar or club that just wants somebody crazy, I just send them somebody from Rock of Love or Big Brother or something like that. They just want a hot girl to party with, you know, that low barrier to entry there. So yeah.
So what's in it for you? Are you Mr. 10% or?
Look at you. Wow. I do take a commission. I take a percentage. I'd rather not say the exact percentage. It's fair according to United States standards for a booking agency. But yeah, I do work off of commission only. So whenever I get somebody in appearance, I take a commission. I don't charge the celebrity to put them on my website, and I don't specifically charge the location. I'm a firm believer that if I make more money for my celebrities, I deserve a little bit higher too, so that's why I have it as a percentage. But a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people in the commission industry they'll book somebody for, these are just random numbers, but they'll book somebody for $5,000, then call up the talent, knowing that the talent will do it for $2,000 because they work with them, and say, hey, will you do this gig for $2,000? The talent says, yeah, that's my minimum, I'll go do it, and the person skims $3,000 off of the top. It happens a lot in my industry. So I always tell the talent how much the full check coming in is going to be, what percentage I'm taking out, and how much I'm giving them, because it's their money, it's not mine. I want to be completely open with them on it.
Do you want to go on, or want to take questions?
Yeah, I want to see if there's any more in terms of what do you want to know about dealing with this whole celebrity
thing. I want to know about Jersey Shore.
You have marketing events. Are you thinking about using this in your business to do events? And you're thinking of contacting people to come in, is it for the attraction of the getting the faces or the seats filled? What is it?
Actually, if I may, there's two real good reasons to bring a celebrity in to do an event. One is a direct return on your investment. You spend $3,000 US and you make X amount of dollars in response to that. That's obvious. But the other thing we get a lot of is we get a lot of locations that book a celebrity as a break even, but it helps brand their location really effectively. So this happens a lot for marketing or for bars and clubs. So that if you have a bar and there's 3,000 other bars in town, you want to be the one that's known for the celebrities and the excitement. So even if it makes it even and you don't make money on bringing a celebrity in, it still lets people know that this is the spot in your city. And so over time, that pays off significantly. So they may not see that money back immediately, but as a branding play, it works very effectively. And we see that with a lot of large companies too. A lot of large corporations will book somebody to do a media event for them. They don't just directly get money back, but that media event gets covered in every major magazine, People Magazine, Us Weekly. These are all large magazines in the US. And as a result, they feel it's like advertising almost, but without having to buy advertising space. And so it winds up cheaper.
Well, we are going to be rounding up.
Okay.
And so now, as I was saying in the interviews that I do, the second half is about asking general questions about entrepreneurship. In our time allotment today, we're not going to be getting into the exact questions, but essentially what they are I've asked every single, that would say 100 people from all over the world, the same questions for the end. And that is, what is the best thing about being an entrepreneur? What is the most challenging thing about being an entrepreneur? And what is your best advice for someone who's sitting on the fence thinking about whether they should be an entrepreneur? So that's what we have for you today. I think in parting, do you have parting words?
No, I said,
right before?
do we have to wrap it? The poor girl was like raising her hand.
No, Lena's going to go to questions right after. It's just to end the presentation, and then she's going to go to questions.
All right, real quick, the best thing about being an entrepreneur coming to Denmark. The hardest thing about being an entrepreneur is speaking Danish, and these two Americans.
And flying.
No, just kidding. The hardest part about being an entrepreneur is finding the balance between your work and your life. Like I said, you always have more work to do. It's a question of when you just say, enough, I'm going to go watch TV. That's probably the hardest part. The best part about being an entrepreneur is your freedom. I was able to come here and speak at this convention. If I went to my boss when I worked at Microsoft and said I want to go to Europe, he'd have told me, shut up and go back to your office. I have the benefit of being able to take time and do things like this, and it's fun and it's exciting. But the worst part about being an entrepreneur is I'm always working. So even while I'm here, I'm going to check my phone the second I get off stage and see if there's any emergencies I have to take care of. And the last question was?
If they're on the fence thinking about, should you be an entrepreneur, should you not, even in this economy?
It's a calculated risk. It's an investment as if you're investing in the stock market or anything else. If you have a good idea that you do believe in, try working for somebody else, get the information from them that you need to know to run a business successfully. And while you're doing that, do your own thing on the side. And then once you have that set up, hopefully you can transition from working for somebody else into working for yourself. It's absolutely the best thing I ever did. Absolutely. And I've worked for world-class companies, like I said. A lot of people think, oh, you work for Disney. And I'm like, yeah, but working for myself is way more fun. So I really encourage you to try it.
Except for he's really possessed with Disney. And that's why he has to go to Tivoli.
I did. I went to Tivoli. I loved it because that's where Walt Disney got inspired to build Disneyland. Actually.
Did you know that? How many knew that? That Walt Disney hooked Tivoli.
Yeah, let the American tell you about Copenhagen.
Lena.
Okay. And special more questions from you guys?
Well, she had a question and she was raising her hand earlier, so
I don't see who you're pointing at. All right. Good.
She's jumping out the seat.
Okay, I missed out the first 5 minutes, so I hope you didn't already answer this question.
Oh, that was the best part of the whole thing.
Oh, sorry. I was just wondering, have you had other people, from Europe, Latin America, to contact you and get celebrities?
Yes, that's a great question. No, we weren't asked that before, so you're just fine.
Okay.
We have. We've done work in Turkey. We've done work in the Bahamas, Canada, Iceland. No, Iceland was just for fun. I just found a cheap fare, so I went there to get drunk. It's Iceland. Come on, you guys go to Iceland. All right, forget it anyway. But yes, we've had celebrities worldwide. I just had a Project Runway cast member in Italy recently. I wasn't able to attend that though because I had to work stuff. So we do book celebrities worldwide. We love doing that. It's a lot of fun for everybody. It's just hard making those contacts, honestly, overseas. Lori and I connected here, and that's why we're doing what we're doing now. But I would love to make more contacts on the continent. I think it's fantastic out there, and I'd love to bring more celebrities out there.
Okay, the reason why I asked this question is, my feeling is that here in Denmark, we're not that starstruck. So if we go to a bar and we see a celebrity, we'll be, oh, look at him. He was on TV last week, and then, okay, and we drink,
Yes.
But do you feel any difference between, for example, the market in America and overseas?
Yeah, I do. You're absolutely right. Europeans as a whole, we found, are a little more blasé about celebrity. I think they pretend they're more blasé about celebrity. When they see a celebrity over there, they don't run up and go, oh my God, can I have your autograph? But at the same time, they're texting their friends going, okay, Brad Pitt's in the corner over there. Because what we find is when I travel, people always have celebrity stories for me. They're all excited to tell me. I think they finally have an outlet to actually discuss it. So I think they're just as interested, especially in England. In England, they're crazy for celebrities. They're nuts, more than the U.S. But I think overall in the European continent, I think people are just as interested in celebrity. I think they just kind of pretend they don't. I'm too cool.
Yeah.
Whatever.
You know you do it.
Whatever. That's your archetype I do. Whatever. Like they don't care. But deep down, I think they want to get a Facebook photo. I think they want to run up and ask a question. I just think they're more reserved and respectful here. So it's nice because of that, honestly, because when you bring a celebrity specifically, it puts them in an environment where it's okay to go up to them. You're not interrupting them eating lunch. They're there to answer your questions and interact with you. So I think it actually works better in that environment because it allows you to let go and actually be a fan.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions? Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
When you approach the celebrities, is it to get them involved in the cause and believe in the cause and root for the cause, or is it the hard cash on the table?
It depends on the celebrity. Some people I work with, they understand there's more than money. It's about enjoying your life and having a good time. This is a blessing. You've been given celebrity. Use it and have a good time with it. And some get it. A lot get it. They're very appreciative. Some don't. And it's about show me the money, and that's it. And I don't want to be your friend. I just want my money. So it depends on the person. And it also depends on how big they are too. There's probably a bell curve where people who aren't very famous, they want it all. People who are in the middle, they balance it between wanting money but enjoying their lives. And then the really famous people, like your Brad Pitts, keep bringing up Brad Pitt. But
You're obsessed.
yeah, right? Or it's just somebody that everybody knows. But he couldn't care less about doing appearances. He makes more money than God. Why bother doing an appearance? So he's not going to care at all. So I think it depends on the celebrity and the personality. And I think a lot of it has to do with the way you're raised, frankly. I think if your parents keep the balance and they say, look, celebrity's a joke, it doesn't mean anything. People assume that because you've been on TV that you're reliable and intelligent and all this stuff. You can be a child molester and still be famous. There's no barrier to entry. So it's interesting how just being a celebrity makes you appear established and interesting and intelligent and reliable, when it may not necessarily be the case. That's why when OJ happened, everybody was blown away. Well, he's a football player. Nobody ever asked him if he murdered anybody when he got that job. You know, when you go to work at Microsoft, they do a background check. So you can't do it there. But a football player, probably. I don't know. But anyway, now I'm digressing.
Did we ever see this Well, time is running, so
Yes.
I'm sorry to say that this was the last question. Thank you so much, Marc.
Thank you.
Thank you, Webb, and you'll be back on stage.
Yeah. And just want to say that if you have more questions about either entrepreneur profiles or about celebrity and how to use them and maybe something more direct or more, maybe you're a little bit shy, 502, we're going to be there and Marc will be here for a little while anyway.
Yeah, I'd love to meet with you guys.
Yeah, so please
See
come
what
on
you guys
over
have to
and
say.
chat with us.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Bye.
Existe apenas